I don't write poetry anymore. It's a futile, masochistic and thankless pursuit. I have already outlived Balzac. In the time that it took him to write 91 books exploring the human condition in its myriad complexity, I have produced 2 very slim volumes of poetry addressing a rather more limited sphere of activity, or a lack of activity, mostly inactivity. Anyway, I was told just to stick to the script tonight. So, before proceeding any further, I would like to this book here is called Anti-Epithalamia and Other Poems of Regret and Resentment. As I'm sure you all know, an epithalamia is a classical poem celebrating a marriage. These are anti-epithalamias. I'd just like to point out before we go any further, not that we are going to be going much further, that there is absolutely no resemblance, there's no connection whatsoever between the author of these works and their narrator. I merely thought it would be an interesting experiment to write from the perspective of a spiritually, morally, and financially bankrupt middle-aged man with a frustrated artistic aspirations and a bad attitude to relationships. It's just the same old shit. Actually, this poem is actually might possess some poetic merit. It was originally published in the Journal of Linguistic Anthropology, where as far as I know, not a single person saw it. I do better online. In fact, honestly, maybe you could help me out, somebody, because I'm on the verge of a great personal milestone at this moment in time. I have 999 Twitter followers. So if any of you are on Twitter, you could be the 1000th one if you wanted. You know my name, right? You got my number. Yeah. It'll be you won't regret it. How many now? We're up to got 1,000 yet? Yeah. Are you on it?
Yeah, I got you.
Alright, thanks. Thank you. 1,000 followers. I'm not fucking around. Anyway, this poem originally appeared in the Journal of Linguistic Anthropology. But, here it is. Why is it that I only ever notice my gut in motel room mirrors? Perhaps obesity is contagious in these parts. The natural result of pride and fear. And why am I not noticed here? Barely branded by sidelong glances in one dead-eyed town after another, by a populace whose chief talent lies in the ability to instantly distrust anything they don't understand. The feeling is mutual. I have passed like a ghost through your cities, scavenging for scraps of the past. I have rambled, ambled, bled your... Oh, I can't go on. All right. I have rambled, ambled, bled your cities dry, arriving at the end of the trail of trash, weighed down on the great white way, on tired streets of dead blood red brick. It's not a big deal. And I have seen the old buildings in all their purity, perfectly preserved on the sides of new buildings, in towns like silences that need not be filled. And there is nothing left anywhere that hasn't been turned over and undermined by over-awareness. For in this tarnished day and age, the luster of everything must be restored and celebrated with meat and sugar and a soundtrack of feigned emotion. Just let me amuse myself up here. I don't get to enjoy myself very often. Don't worry, I'll soon return to my usual downtrodden and desperate self. Though it is oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'll also be engaging in exactly the same spontaneous repartee tonight as of the other recent readings. I will soon be returning to my usual downtrodden and desperate self. But it is disturbing how quickly and easily a downtrodden man can become smug under the right circumstances. You don't get paid, you don't get laid. At the end of the day, these few fleeting moments of glory are one's only reward. And the remote possibility that some poor lost soul might derive succor from these bitter words. Entering into a relationship is like moving to a small town. A new beginning, a way of saying it's over. You've had enough. Those numberless days throughout which everything spun are numbed. That dizzy season of distraction and receptivity couldn't last. It took too much out of you. Your sense of wonder is now exclusively reserved for the exploration of a new world that barely exists outside yourself. Are you filming? Good, because you got my right side. Make sure I don't get obscured by the microphone like the last person did. I'm losing my looks at an alarming rate. Let's carry on. But small towns contain a certain boring beauty that occasionally bores into you. They are slower, cleaner, safer places, ideal for retirement. And it is comforting to know that one's neighbors share the same priorities. the same sense of belonging. The entire world will become one room in one town, and nothing of interest lies beyond the city limits. It's all right, you didn't want to go out anyway. Other people and their breeding habits no longer hold much fascination. It was time to move beyond sensation, free from the inconveniences of a world wide open, into an idyllic dormancy, muddying temptation with connubiality. Don't just snicker to yourself, share the joy. That's it. No opinions. Share the laughter. Trying to make a connection up here. I usually, this next poem I usually dedicate to Sade. But I'm not going to do that tonight. That would be cheap. That would be a cheap shot. That would be gauche. You know, I mean, just because we were briefly romantically involved many years ago, and she wrote a song about me. Which some of you may have heard. It's called Smooth Operator. So I'm not gonna, you know, milk that one anymore. I did, and I wrote a tender love by, you know, I returned the compliment and wrote a tender love poem. But anyway, actually, check it. If you look in Wikipedia, check Sade out. It says, during the 1980s, Sade squatted in Tottenham for several months. Yeah. So just change one vowel and it's rather revealing, isn't it? Anyway. How empty your life must be without me. Without anybody to blanket with caresses and otherwise oppress with tenderness. Your sadistic kindness was occasionally repaid with masochistic asperity. It was enough, apparently, for you to assume that you would always be wanted, to continue undaunted, looking at me occasionally, as a dog gnawing on a bone looks at an approaching stranger. My way of giving was to let you give. But that initial torrent of generosity soon dried up, leaving scant evidence of that which briefly flowed between us. A meniscus of drool on the edge of the sofa, a mouthful of dust, and the distant echoes of a form of impassioned utterance turned towards an end I never had in mind. I might have missed you more you had missed me less, and I might have missed myself less. Your attention saddened me. I dread summertime, the sight of you in a summer dress. The idea of collaboration has never interested me. That's called The Artist's Wife, actually. It's based upon observations on someone else's relationship. Nobody here. Alright. I'd just like to go out in a brief burst of glory, if I might. So I got 1,000 Twitter followers now, right? I thought that would be a nice way to mark the occasion of Anthony's book publication, would to, you know, get 1,000 Twitter followers for me. Excellent. Okay. But I don't understand people who claim that they have no regrets in life, who insist out of gratitude, pride, and ignorance that they wouldn't want to change a thing. My life is a raging river of regret, flowing into a sea of shame. There is very little I wouldn't do differently if given a second chance. I always knew I'd end up feeling this way. It was a setup. Regret was something I worked towards, something I felt I had to earn. And now, naturally, I regret that too.